What happened?
All right, welcome back everybody to another Pokemon Artcast. This episode has been long overdue and has been real fun in the making considering we've been kind of sitting on this topic for a while. And I can't wait to jump into the conversation, but as always, let's do our wonderful little intro since we've been gone for so long. I am, of course, Zammu.
And I am Josh Shadow. And you're the one that decided, oh, let's go see that Ditto Harem. And we got lost there for how long?
Do we have to bring that up? Seriously?
Yes, we do.
Ugh. I made one simple mistake. You find out one other Pokemon can mimic your own ability and you decide you want to socialize.
Oh, that's what we're calling it.
Yes, that is what we are calling it.
I got it. Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure we were on the same page there.
Yes, we are definitely on the same page. Ah, man. What has it been? 2 months?
I was going to say at least 2 weeks or more.
Yeah, something
2
like
months.
that. In any event, it has definitely been way too long. But there's been a lot going on for fans of Pokemon, especially with the upcoming release of Violet and Scarlet.
Oh, in 123 days, 7 hours, 59 minutes, and 55 seconds as of now, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, I googled that and they're like, I found things like going in real time. I'm like, okay, I just wanted how many days, but if you want to give me hours, minutes, seconds, I guess I can mention it for you.
Fair enough.
But if we're gonna talk about that, you're aware of Amazon having the two box bundle, right?
I wasn't until you let me know about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still available, but they're definitely the ones I would go with because they don't ask for like any kind of money up front. You just gotta make sure like a day or two before it's released, they can pull the money from whatever card you decided to use.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I definitely have to look into getting my reserve because I missed out on every double pack that has been released. I managed to get Pokemon Snap, I managed to get Arceus, but I have not been able to get the double packs of Shield and Sword, let alone Diamond and Pearl.
okay, as I'm like trying to look this up, see if it's a possible. It's like it's gonna be one of those months that's gonna drive me nuts now. All right, hold on, let's see if this brings it. Okay, yep, definitely. Let's see, huh? I guess I'll directly link you later to it, but it is still available. Oh, wait, no, I'm taking it back. They're saying now that the window for them it is currently unavailable.
Son of a building block.
We'll have to, well, maybe we can get lucky. I mean, everybody's favorite mom and pa destroyer that's now getting their just desserts, tends to do things. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. I'm putting a lot of faith into the fact that just hopefully that I'll be able to get it, even if it's even if it's through like eBay or something else, as long as it's within reason, I'll be okay with that.
if well, you know that you're gonna get burned. Oh wait, yep, it's listed on GameStop as um, they take their money up front.
Mm-hmm.
I think I haven't pre-ordered with online from them before. I tend to avoid trying to give GameStop any money for video games.
Right.
Not their collectibles. Collectibles, I feel, is a different thing because at least they live up to my feeling with them these days of Hot Topic with. But yeah, they're saying they still have it up as you can pre-order their GameStop. You just got to put in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet double pack dash Nintendo Switch and it comes right up.
Nice.
So.
Well, I'm definitely gonna have to.
Got Mike Cougar
out.
has joined our little lovable Pokebots.
Hey, what's up, Mike? How you been? It's definitely been a while since we hung out in Discord. I hope you are feeling a lot better. And I know the last time we talked Pokemon, you had mentioned you were getting the shiny charm and completing the decks for Arceus, which is awesome. I still need to get back into my damn game. I need to get my groove back. It's kind of unnerving how every time I see my Switch and I'm like, you know what? I just want to dive right in and start playing. I burn out like a pilot light.
I don't know that feeling. It's like I fired up. I'm gonna do a shout out here. 501st Pokemon Legion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they call themselves. Let me double check, and I'm not like shouting out the wrong person here. They every so often do their little trade them anything. They'll give you a shiny Pokemon if you're picking from their like giveaway boxes.
Right.
And they were like giving away something. They had two particular Pokemon no one was like jumping on. I'm like, I kind of want those. And I managed to get it, and it's like, okay, I did give up a shiny I had because I felt bad being like, oh, I'm gonna take this shiny I really want from you and give you traction. No, see, I know they streamed recently. They did like a Nuzlocke thing. Yeah, it's 5-0 for Pokemon Legion. But they have like somehow they managed to get some kanji up in their thing and their title thing, so it's like weird.
Right.
But anyway, they did it. I think I still have a shiny I got from them. I was gonna give you, but that was like the last time I quickly popped it in because I was just like, I got a Poke Burnout, and I was like, I could do this, but I've got other things to worry about. And there's some other games I could definitely play that I'm excited about and stream and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad that you are able to stream again too when you have the chance.
Oh, I stream when I get the chance. Would I like to be more broad than a Switch right now? Yeah. But the Switch has two things really going for it right now. One, super easy to hook up to shit.
Right.
Two, it's not packed up like the rest of my shit in storage.
That's true.
Or let me rephrase that. Not necessarily in storage right this second, but packed up to the point where I'm not cutting the box open just to get it for a second.
Yeah. Makes sense to
me.
And
I can't fight. For those that know, on my show, when I'm not possessing an innocent Marshadow here, Monkey is like been on a real Dark Souls theme games, and like between him and my PS4 and that room space is kind of deadly. So it's like, nah. Jeez. I'll just go stream this Booba pirate game instead. Way easier than getting bit.
Yeah, kudos to all you guys out there in the community who are streaming a lot of unknown titles. among the community, because although I know the numbers don't pack people in, like, say, if you were playing a modern title, I think it's still cool that, for example, you, Y Chromosome, and a few others stream titles that nobody has either heard of or has forgotten. And it's because of that that I was able to discover some of those games, and I'm like contemplating, okay, which one do I add to my collection next, you know?
I hooked you up with a Switch game. I'm waiting to see you stream at some point.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, actually, I take that back. Monkey hooked you up with that game.
And then
You,
BFG hooked me up with Shaq Fu for the Switch, which I don't know if I'll ever open. Not because I don't want to play it, it's just more so, do I leave it factory sealed and piss off a lot of people?
I'll split the difference with you. You're waiting to undo it if you ever meet Shaq in person.
There you go.
And that's a legitimate reason to be like, okay, I'm getting the sign. Now I'm going to send it to an official COA. They'll lock it in like carbonite bullshit case and grade it. Just
Yeah.
to say, look at this neat treasure I now possess in my collection.
No kidding. Ugh. The
An
debate goes on.
unplayed, an unplayed of Shaq Fu.
I mean, who am I really hurting at that point?
I don't know.
Oh,
He
well.
brings up a good point. Leave it sealed and just get a digital. But
Yeah.
like I said, if you really want to play it, that's how it is on some games, I feel like. But sometimes, like, this is a real recent thing that kind of pissed me off. So, I have my own independent Switch now. I used to share a Switch with Monkey. Well, technically still do, because some of my shit's on it. But like, I'm like, okay, just in case we have to pack up one of them, let's just have everything on them. You can have your account on mine or whatever on the second one. Yeah, he's got games that were bought on his account, but I without logging into his account, which annoys the shit out of me. Has like PlayStation and Xbox. They're like, we don't give a shit what account plays on this console that you just downloaded this shit. We got your money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, so everyone's like going. I had a couple of people, God bless them. They're like, hey, you want to join us to play Shredder's Revenge? I'm like, I'm waiting for my physical copy to show up because I can't play it unless I play Monkey's digital.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah. Well, if you want to get technical, his full name is Tech Monkey Ty, but everyone in the community just devolved that to Monkey, so we just roll with it. But yeah, it's just it's a mess. It's a hot mess there that annoys me, but like whatever. And let's get back on task. We've slid off way too early off of topic here. So I know we want to talk about. I believe it was kaiju-like Pokemon, or what we believe are kaiju-inspired, or make us think of kaiju naming.
Right. Whether it's naming, overall design, that sort of thing. I think it's really cool that eventually, and when I was thinking about this, because I've noticed that ever since I've been playing Pokemon, about how it's just a little too coincidental that some Pokemon just bear too much of a resemblance to kaiju that I know, and it would be hard to create something that wasn't kaiju inspired. But it really does surprise me when someone who has been playing Pokemon never really realizes that. And I'm not one to bash them for not knowing that, because not everybody grew up watching Godzilla movies like we did. Not everybody grew up playing Pokemon like we did. So to kind of miss the synchronicity of the two, I mean, I can understand that, but it's just really interesting when somebody gets a complete, like, Keanu Reeves, whoa, and they realize it after you've made that distinction to them.
Oh yeah, there are some for sure. I mean, I would be hard pressed to have any of the people, if you were to find that exact person that did the winning design in the company, try to tell you that it didn't kinda get somehow subconsciously inspired by that particular monster or that particular comic or anime in Japan.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's hard. It's hard pressed kind of material there.
Right. And it's not that impossible to believe either when you realize what Pokemon was originated from, what Pokemon was influenced from. So to put in there, oh, by the way, we happen to have certain inhabitants of this world that resemble a lot of our favorite kaiju characters growing up. Not that far fetched at all.
We've got some visitors real quick into our lovely Pokebox. We got Geeks with Cash. We've got Yugoslav Video Game Nerd. What's going on, folks? We are talking right now about getting into there the likenesses of kaiju from basically Toho's Godzilla franchise. And I guess we want to get technical, depending on where you stand on giant monkeys. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people that just doesn't believe Kong's a kaiju. I'm sorry.
Well, I will argue to the fact that he is not. He is just a prehistoric ape. Now, they made him obviously kaiju size because he has to fight Godzilla, of course, East versus West. But I will always say that despite how popular he is, Kong is not a kaiju. He is not official.
Exactly. That's where I stand. I'm like, he's a giant monkey. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
He doesn't do any of this crazy shit like spit spikes out of nowhere, regrow limbs, or any of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a really oversized monkey with tremendous monkey strength.
Right. And what is he? Max 40 feet? If that?
I forget what they adjust. Well, if we're talking original, that sounds right. If we're talking legendary's version, no.
Yeah, he is nowhere. No. But yeah, let's definitely get into the topic. But first, we're going to do our usual little shout outs here. For those of you not aware, our community member Quesadilla Padilla is currently streaming God of War. I'm gonna drop his
With the
channel
Retro
link.
King Pro X5, I believe.
Yep.
It's basically upscale testing. He got a new toy that he is sharing with the world, which kudos to him.
Exactly. And I love it when he shows off all his new little toys because then that inspires other people to buy them.
Well, like I said, I'm kind of trying not to buy a bunch of new toys because that's more shit for me that I'm gonna have to squeeze somewhere until I can unpack everything and then go, shit, I thought I'd have somewhere for this.
Right. But yeah, our pal Quesadilla is currently streaming. Feel free to drop a like in his channel, show some support if you haven't already. And
I was there.
What's that?
I was there. I popped in.
I did too. So let's get to the first segment.
Who's that?
YouTuber.
Who's that YouTuber? Or content creator, I guess.
Dad Level Podcast. Yeah, we should decide how we're gonna do that. Is it YouTuber or is it gonna be content creator?
I don't know. I guess it really depends on what they identify as.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But let me go ahead and pull up our pick for tonight. There we are. Dad Level Podcast, a fairly new member to the community. I don't want to say brand new because he has been around for a while. Really great guy. Does his own podcast, which he uploads in the mornings. I don't know if he's going to be changing his time slot with that. I know some have kind of popped up at different times throughout the day, but really knowledgeable when it comes to collecting toys, action figures, kaiju fan himself. As you can see, he streams a variety of different games. Most of the time, you will see him doing his Tekken 7 matches and whatnot. And
Then
then
he calls him like, doesn't he call him like Road to? Damn, what's that big fighter game tourney? I can't remember.
Oh, yes.
I'm drawing a blank. God damn it.
I just blanked too, but it's not Mugen. That's the fighting engine that they use. Road to. It's in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm like, I knew it, and then like when I mentioned it, was like, bink off.
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue, and it's probably gonna die because I can't remember it. Evo, isn't it?
Yes, that's it. Evo. Evo.
That's the one.
Not to be confused with Evo.
So, as you can see, again, we've got his podcast where he does these episodes with other friends, and they talk about a variety of things just like we do on the Ratcast. He's actually been a guest a couple times on the Ratcast and does unboxings from his Video Games Monthly, and then some extended playthroughs, of course, and then he started hosting movie nights on Fridays, if I recall, in his Discord. So be sure to reach out to him. If you haven't checked out his content, do yourself a favor and do so. Really nice guy, really supported member of the community, and always makes an appearance when he can. So, yep, that is our YouTuber shout out officially for Dad Level Podcast.
Yeah, you can take a breath now, zombie. It's okay, it's on you.
What?
You don't have to use extreme speed there.
What extreme speed? What are you talking about? I'm just trying to do my job over here.
I just noticed, I'm like listening, I'm like, he's like, either he's thinking he's got a rush, I haven't said anything, or he's just like really getting into it.
I think honestly it's because I've been drinking Death Wish coffee again, and there's a delayed reaction. Sometimes it doesn't hit me right away. Hey, what's up, Thumb Brothers? How you doing?
They came up into the Pokebox.
Thumb Brothers recently submitted some speedrunning challenges over the weekend. Unfortunately, I missed part of it live because of prior obligations, but from what I understand, it was one hell of a run.
This is why when you find Dittos, always ask if they've been tested, folks. Uh-oh.
So we both happen to know Mimic. Sue me.
That's not how that works. It's like saying, we both know Harden, we both know Mirror Move. Come on now.
One time I make a mistake. One time.
Yeah, you better use...
All right. Well, let's get to our topic of tonight. So this I found kind of interesting. Fans have speculated for a while that whether or not it was intentional that Pokemon creator Satoshi Tajiri based some of his mons around kaiju. I found this while searching for confirmation of that. And I find it interesting that he specifically states Godzilla and, of course, Ultraman. Huge cultural influences in Japan, by the way. Not as big as, you know, the U.S. definitely has some love for Godzilla and Ultraman, but those guys are legends in Japan. Along with Lupin the Third, for sure.
Well, speaking of Ultraman, support that stuff. Seriously, if you want to get into like collecting the Toku stuff, like the what Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, or Masked Rider in Japan was, or not Japan, Masked Rider in the US, if you believe the Saban thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ultraman's like super cheap, like under $30 to get series on DVD that usually come with the motion picture too in the collection. It's like they're very rarely above that price point. They're like priced to be perfect entry.
I'm just waiting for my better quality official release of Gridman, but I am tempted to go back and start rebuilding my Ultraman collection. I had.
I've touched it. I've touched a few on myself, but it's more of the newer end type stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead.
I was just gonna say I used to have Ultraman episodes on DVD back when they were cheap, and I think I sold them at a time to help out a friend who I'm no longer friends with, unfortunately, to cover a debt that wasn't his. So
Oof.
I lost a lot of my original collectibles because of that, but I also know that the reason why I sold them is because those were collectibles that would fetch a pretty price. So, but
Oh yeah.
Ultraman definitely has a variety of collector sets out there. I don't know if it has like one huge giant 256 disc collection, but
No. The way they marketed it is like this season chunk, this season chunk, this season chunk.
mm-hmm.
It's not like the American Mighty Morphin Power Rangers where they eventually said, you know what? There's enough people that were kids when this came out that remember the OG Mighty Morphin. We can just collapse this into a giant box set that they will pay money for. It's not that. I know that because I'm still trying to get the last few Super Sentais that are done, which great new Shout Factory, I believe. Monkey showed me they've gotten rights to actually bring more of the Super Sentais over.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also getting Kamen Rider Kuga, which was the first Heisei Rider that relaunched Kamen Rider. But that one, last I checked, it comes out later this year and has a $60 price point. And that is USD, not any other currency. Dun dun dun. Had to just get me going on Toku, didn't you?
Oh, of course, you fell for it.
Some you used Confuse Ray. Or is
That's
this
right.
Otaku Ray?
So yeah, I thought this was pretty cool that mostly for those who don't know, Pokemon was created from Tajiri's love of bug collecting, but he also wanted to put a little bit more of the pop culture things that he grew up watching. So again, not having Pokemon based on some important kaiju, I think would have been a crime, and I'm glad he actually was starting to do that more and more, even with as late as Shield and Sword, where I forget their names, but they're like kung fu bears, basically, that resemble Ultraman.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. It was Ursafu or something like that. He was part of the first paid expansion content for Sword and Shield.
Yeah, and their karate gis have like the same colors of some of the Ultraman versions that were out in like the early 50s. So we had the original, and then I'm trying to remember what the blue variant was named.
There was what it was is they both were fighting types, but one was a fighting water, and I think one was fighting dark or something like that. Give me a second, and I can tell you that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look that up real fast.
That's cool, Thumb, because part of why we enjoy doing this podcast when we can is we like discussing all these random little facts like this. And Pokemon is definitely one of those franchises that is filled with a lot of direct and indirect pop culture references. I mean, when you look at all the gaming franchises that are still around to this day, like Legend of Zelda, for example, Miyamoto came up with that while he was exploring the backwoods of his home when he used to go into caves and dig holes as a kid, and just came up with the idea of what if a video game character had to do that.
But
it's
okay,
it's just amazing.
all right. So his pre-evolved form is Kubfu. He gets to a certain level. There's two different little like school towers you can go to,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on which one you pick is what his subtype will be. So when he becomes Sifu, he'll either, if you pick one school where he's got the red, and this only happens when he Ultramaxes or Dynamaxes or whatever the fuck the special variant is called, Gigantamax.
Yeah.
He gets the red gi, he'll be a Fighting Dark. The blue one is Fighting Water.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, he's just this big, kind of weird-looking bear with some white on him.
Right. And it's not, the first time there has been a bear Pokemon.
Yeah, but I will say, as far as like bear Pokemon go, he's probably my least favorite design. I mean, that's kind of hard to do.
Yeah. Well, Ursaring was kind of cool, but we all know that as a normal type, not much you can do with those, sadly.
Oh no, I'm talking about like its design, not its typing.
Mm.
So it's funny that when you think about it, the red variant is a Fighting Dark, and Pangoro is a bear.
Yes.
And he is a dark as well, and he's not a legendary Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like wasted opportunity. There's like, why did you make this one dark? There's like how many other types you could have easily slapped that we haven't gotten with fighting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the fighting type definitely could. I'm 50-50 on the roster. I am annoyed with all the fire fighting hybrids we've been getting lately, so I can agree with that. But we definitely need to get back to like other forms of either like martial arts, or hell, let's bring back swordplay. We have the Farfetch line, and there's a couple others I think we could use.
I mean, Farfetch, when you evolve it into a Surfetch, turns into a pure fighting type.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Hell, I am a fighting ghost type, okay? I am the only one there is, and I'm an adorable little teddy bear that just hauls off and takes out Pikachu's like it's nothing.
Yep.
I mean, what's funny though is like, there's not that many where it's the first type. Fighting is the first type, and then secondary is a different type.
No.
So like I'm looking at, but there's like dragon fighting, bug fighting, normal fighting. It's like and like you mentioned, the fire fighting hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
It's once again, it's fighting being the secondary trait. And it's
right.
It's like, okay, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
I would honestly stomach this. Just saying, you get mad at me if for one more fighting fire, just to see that fighting was the first type and fire was the secondary.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I mean, I would completely just be like, okay, that's fine. I mean, there's plenty of types. Like, they could have easily been like, with Urshifu, been like, you know what? Let's do fighting grass. Let's do, if they want to do an elemental theme, It's like, it's not to counter water.
Right.
Like, keep a balance going, like, why these two are at odds and different. It's like, I don't see dark and water clashing for a weird balance problem. Like, I don't see that these are like, darkness is ever going to be counterbalanced by a water.
Yeah. For sure. And this is coming from players who, I mean, what did we have when Gen 1 first hit? We had the Machop series, and then we had the Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan.
Let's see if I can pull that up real quick, and I can tell you exactly on that list. Dun dun dun. We had the Primate line. If you're talking
Oh
about
yeah,
just
primate.
pure,
Mm-hmm.
we had Mankey, Primate, Poliwrath, Machop, Machoke, Machamp, Hitmonlee, and Hitmonchan.
Right.
That was it. That was all fighting was. Now, if you're like going, oh, we're not counting evolutions, or we're not counting any water/fighting type that Poliwrath is, yeah, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Four that are
Mm-hmm.
just pure. I mean, then things like this. Let's see, like Dragon Man. Oh my god! Now, how cool would that be if it was a fighting dragon type?
Fighting dragon
That
type? Oh, that would be sick.
that would have been. I mean, there's a. I could get behind a little dragon that's like, one in little box. If you looked at the place, I'd be. Oh, but no, it's like we had literally, if you're not counting evolutions, one dragon, and even then he wasn't pure
Mm-hmm.
because it was dragon flying.
Right.
I mean, there are some types that like they did not get that many at the very start, and then like now there's way too many of them. So, like dragon types like grew crazy along with fire types. How
And
many there are?
and now some people are sick of them.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was neat for a while when the legendary is a dragon. Okay, it's a dragon again. Alright. Then we get Sword and Shield, which is finally a change up. Okay, for the cover art, legendary says we've got these badass wolf dogs, and they're kind of mediocre.
Yeah. Well, Shield and Sword was a mediocre game from what I understand anyway. So no surprise.
It was their first attempt. The problem with it is they tried to prevent like Hakimon and all this, and all it did, the way they went about it, made it so for people to put out Hakimon, and it was like, God damn it! Like I'm not even kidding. Like the minute I had the Nintendo Online access, just having that up where I could put a Pokemon up to say random trade. I was picking up all kinds of very obvious Hakimon that like literally they had a thing has their OT that if you typed in a search engine would take you to a site to pay to have either the name changed of the one they gave you or a full custom order Hakimon. I'm like, damn. I mean, one of my former friends, or not former friends, my former Pokemon gym leaders from when I was in the gym leader exhibitionist type thing at a convention. We were playing, and one time he messaged me like, "How the hell did you get so many shinies?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm just walking around trying to grind some levels, and these fuckers are just dropping me Hakimon left and right." Because it doesn't register them as trades. It says I've caught on my little OT card that will show up on their thing that automatically exchanges.
Right.
And it's like I've caught like 4 or 5 legit ones on my own. I made a point of.
The same way that it works in Arceus, where it counts as a catch when you trade them.
Yep.
So awesome way to help with the decks for sure.
I mean, as far as Sword and Shield, there was like 2 shinies I was really after.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 3 really, but 2 very specific ones. I wanted the green Flapple because I just wanted a green Flapple. Granny Smith apples are like my favorite apples, and I thought it was just super cool that he was like a Transformer dragon. And I forget her name, but she was like this. She reminded me of a mage, so I was like, I was like, oh, I have to get that Pokemon. And I would like to get the whatever variant. That was the thing that drove me crazy. Is there certain Pokemon that you could get a regular one of, and then there was the special. They had the special mark that says they have a special form when they Gigantamax.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a point of like getting her, and I was like, I did not care if she had the special variant or not. I was like, I just want this giant freaking thing. Let's see if I can. What is her name?
Speaking of giant freaking things.
Giant freaking things. What a segue.
I know, right?
There it is.
We have probably
Hetrine was its name.
which one?
The Hetrine. It
Mm.
was a psychic fairy. But yeah, as you were saying with the segue.
Segway. Um, let's kick it off with the most well-known giant freaking thing, and that's Godzilla himself.
Oh, we just going big, huh?
Yep. We're gonna jump right in with the main focus of today's debate, and that's the King of the Monsters himself. Debuted in what, 1954, 55?
We're talking about OGzilla or
OGzilla.
Gojira?
Gojira, yeah.
Let's see. I believe you're right. I want to say you're right. Okay, weird. I like type in Gojira just in the search engine just to see, and it like brought up some random ass band. I'm like, no, I wanted Godzilla Gojira, but okay. That's cool of you to be, think I was talking about your band.
I think it was 54.
Yeah, first Godzilla film was 54.
I
Then
thought
he came
so.
back. Then he came back apparently 98, 2014. I mean,
What about Godzilla 85? Didn't that hit American shores?
they all hit American shores, man. They just sent that some B movie dubbings. Is a big question there.
Yep, there we go. Thanks, Thumb.
Which I'm sorry. I do enjoy that we can get the original language with accurate subtitles these days, but sometimes you literally just want to watch the cheesy English dubbing.
Oh, of course.
Because sometimes there's just fun to watching an entire sentence, because in Japanese language it's like 3 words, but in English it's like 5, and there's like no stick at all.
The bad Japanese dubbing or American English dub was part of the charm.
Fun times. It was, but yeah.
Thumb saying the audio is breaking up a bit.
Uh-oh. That's never good. That's not necessarily us. That could be somewhere in our lovely chain of programs.
Yep. But we'll keep an eye on that. Thanks for letting us know, Thumb. All right. So
it's what? Real quick, what is it? Like 4 programs we're using from your computer to YouTube right now?
Probably more than that even.
Well, I'm just saying, it's a stack to be a streamer / podcaster these days.
Especially when your system's not equipped for that. But you like a computer back in the day, you what is that process called? Overclock it.
They still overclock it.
So here we have Tyranitar. Probably the most synonymous with Godzilla.
Oh, for sure.
And even going all the way back to his first stage, which is Larvitar, he still kind of resembles Godzilla, or to an extent, I would say, as much as I don't like that interpretation, what was his name? Son of Godzilla.
I can't remember it. I think it's like Mila or something like that is what they called him.
Yeah, Minya. Or however, Manila.
I think that's what he was called in like the 80s, 90s stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's what they called him originally.
Right.
But it's better than the Hanna-Barbera one. Godzuki!
Oh my gosh, no.
Godzilla could fly and he somehow forgot how to?
I did not like that. He's the Scrappy Doo of the Godzilla cartoon. More annoying than anything. But
Oh,
yes,
whatever.
most fans of the Pokemon series would argue Tyranitar is probably the most inspired by Godzilla. However, I challenge the viewing audience to consider another entry, and that is Shiny Groudon.
I can kind of see it, but no, that's not who I would immediately go to.
The reason why I picked Shiny Groudon, aside from just the fact that Groudon is a legendary and Godzilla is the king of the monsters after all, um, I feel that because of the way that he kind of looks and walks, and he has similar eyes and mouth, and he
Oh,
kind of
isn't he? Go ahead.
he kind of has that same attitude when it comes to like fighting. And you know, at the end of every Godzilla movie, when Godzilla's like, "All right, peace out, I'm going home," and he's always like, he's very tired and slow, and he's just like, "I just want to go home and drink a beer." Groudon kind of moves like that too. Every time I see him walking in Pokemon Go when I have him with me. And another reason why I draw a conclusion to Groudon is because for those of you who are fans of the Godzilla films, in a later film, Godzilla actually starts to die, like nuclear fallout inside his body. He's like melting, and
Yeah, he's got a critical meltdown. He's
yeah,
doing Chernobyl basically,
and Groudon,
and that's we get rid of Godzilla because somehow he becomes Godzilla, like in that brief point.
mm-hmm, Groudon has his primal form, which to me again screams molten lava rock. The way that he looks in that film as he's dying.
So
So
you're drawing conclusion of a monster based on the behemoth. That's where they got inspiration for Groudon.
mm-hmm.
Is Godzilla? It was more based on Godzilla in design.
Hey, welcome, Mr. Matthews. Yes, Tyranitar is a badass.
Way to dodge the questions on you. Way to dodge the question.
I am just shouting out to one of the members of the community. Just being playful.
Oh, like, uh-huh. Yeah,
So,
Groudon was based on Behemoth. I could definitely see where they took more movement and stocky design from Godzilla for sure.
mm-hmm.
But I'd have to stick with OG Tyranitar on this one. And then Tyranitar's Mega form reminds me so much of Space Godzilla. It's ridiculous.
Yes, that's true, and I'm hoping we get that in Pokemon Go soon because I got a Hundo Tyranitar, and I've been leveling that bad boy up. I mean, he's max, so you know, give me my Mega Tyranitar form, damn it.
He's like, hey, I'm willing to forgo the hell it is a Gyarados just to have a Mega Tyranitar. Not to be amazing. I just want to have the form.
I do. I do. And with how crappy rating has been lately, just give us something. Give us new additions to the roster at least. You know?
No, it was actually started off, if I remember right. The main mission was to make it a video game, and like all the other merch came after it. His original two-prong attack was a video game. Then they went with an anime. Then there was the comic where where there is a couple where they actually did publish that the starter was the Jigglypuff or Clefairy. I forget which one it was supposed to be off the top of my head right now. Was going to be the what we now know as Pikachu, always by his side for Ash, but luckily that did not happen.
Okay, so let me clear these ones real quick. So I guess what I'm bringing to everyone's attention here. Do we go OG Tyranitar, or do we go shiny Groudon for Godzilla? I like to hear what
I'm
you guys
saying
think.
stand with me, Marshadow, and we will march to the Tyranitar Promised Land. I have no idea where I was going with that.
I mean, honestly, I stand by Tyranitar as well. I just think that shiny Groudon has at least an almost equal stance on being considered Godzilla inspired. Now, his original form is not green, nor is this shiny form. It's more of like a lime yellow kind of color, but I think he resembles Godzilla in some ways that Tyranitar doesn't. And then, of course, the fact that he's a legendary and Godzilla is the king of the monsters. So that's where I stand, at least with Groudon. But in the end, I do believe that Tyranitar is probably going to be the pick for Godzilla and Pokemon fans, for sure. All right, so let's get the next character up. Hopefully this didn't... of course, it did not edit the way that I wanted to.
Of course it doesn't.
Gonna make me
always
work,
have
huh?
Stuff. You always gotta have that scuff. I mean, come on now. It wouldn't be a stream without the stuff.
Gonna make me work.
Live show, whatever we're calling this these days.
Of course. Well, here, I'll just do this. We'll maximize it. Hopefully this will fix.
Okay.
Nope, it did not.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, well, hold on.
Come on, all I want to do is get a picture of Angerus.
It's looking pretty decent. I mean, you can definitely see enough to know to do a comparison.
Yeah, probably, but I was hoping for a much better picture so that we could see the back of them. But anywho, we'll do with what we got here.
Okay, at least you didn't do the cheesy one where he talked for a minute picture.
Oh no! With that scrambled audio that they used for their discussion. Yep. Okay.
I was like, okay. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go now.
Why did you make them talk? Should have just left it alone. You know, give them their...
Why? If they were gonna talk, why not have a little bit more of a more like enlightened conversation, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Not go. Okay, I sense a disturbance in the forest. Go check it out.
Right.
I would, but I got a kid. I mean, that's what it came off to me like. I'm like, really? That's how we're doing it?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what was it? In 55, 56, we got Godzilla Raids Again.
Yeah, it was the next. And then originally it was called the Volcano Hunter or some shit. The States first brought it over.
Right.
Because they were afraid Americans wouldn't do sequels.
Mm-hmm. And
like, no, we'll do sequels. We're suckers.
We're suckers.
We are totally suckers. We're totally suckers for sequels. Look at the fucking Harry Potter franchise. They like sequeled into sequels.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So 55 rolls around. Godzilla has started to establish his place. And now he's becoming pop culture. He's no longer a metaphor for the terrors of nuclear war, nuclear experimentation. He's becoming a pop culture icon. And then in 55, we get Godzilla Raids Again. Godzilla's back to unleash his fury on Japan again. Only this time he's now joined by his first ever rival. And that's Anguirus, the mutated Ankylosaurus that unfortunately half his body is missing in this photo. And so
Wasn't Anguirus, so they said like some weird he could actually kill Godzilla and eat him type of thing. Like that was his unique thing and why they were afraid of him.
yeah,
Like
something of that
he
nature.
he eats everything in his path, and then after this movie, he's like the dopey friend that just gets punked around all the time.
Sadly, yes. Anguirus went from this formidable foe of Godzilla's to the sidekick that tends to get his head kicked in a lot of times, sadly. But to his credit, he's usually the one that's like, hey, I'll help you or whatever. So I gotta give him that, even though he does get his head kicked in quite a bit. And then, of course, because the fandom for Mothra was growing stronger, they decided to pair him with Mothra a lot more.
Hey, Mothra was so popular, she got 2 whole fucking independent movies.
Yeah, she definitely got her own little series.
It was supposed to be 3, but I forget why they pulled out on the 3rd one.
Well, they made Rebirth of Mothra 1, 2, and 3. And then she had her original film in the 50s as well. So, I don't know what the plans were for the other film, but I know for a fact that those were made and are available on Blu-ray. Thank the maker. Because trying to get those VHSs is a pain.
Oh, dude. There's certain ones that even getting Godzilla movies is becoming like a pain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because they're not like in demand, it's just no one's really is printing anything, and there's nothing they can quote unquote remaster yet.
Yeah, Mr. M. In Godzilla's Revenge, we revisit the character of Minya, and he did talk.
To a little boy who was getting bullied and dreamed and wished that Godzilla would beat up his bullies.
Right.
And the monster that we never see again was the bully of Godzilla Jr. And they just happen to have the same name.
Exactly. And it's so horribly dubbed in English that Minya sounds like a complete dope. He really does. And I've said this.
No joke here. When I was younger and I first saw that movie, I totally thought he was voiced by Don Knotts.
I could believe it. Because he's like, Godzilla says I've got to fight my own battles. And he has like this ridiculous voice. Whereas when he first debuted in Son of Godzilla, he just made animal noises. That's it. So, yeah. Minya only made a few appearances, and then as we get into the later films, they reintroduced the actual concept of Godzilla Jr., where Jr. was in fact his son. Minya has been speculated to be of the same species of Godzilla, but not directly connected to him. Yeah, it very much is like that, Ryan. The whole idea of chasing the bullies with this imaginary creature. Except in the movie, the kid, for whatever reason, envisioned himself partly as Minya, but then also could talk to him. And yeah, there was the one kaiju that only makes one appearance ever, and was that...
It looks like they were on acid when they made him. It really does. Like,
yeah.
He looks like he's on acid. I'm like, okay. Yeah, if I was Godzilla Jr., I would not want to fight him either. That dude's definitely tweaked.
He's tweaking, man. Let him freaking tweak.
I mean, he might come down and like fuck you up because you don't know what he's got. He's probably got some needle or something. It's like, nope.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can try to find a better picture, or at least if it lets me up this drawing.
Let's see. If you're talking about the food dog, that's what was it, King Caesar or whatever?
Yes.
That's basically what he is.
King
Is a
Caesar.
weird bipedal poo dog in Japan of all places, and I was like, wait, what? Thought food dogs were more, the Mandarin Chinese culture, but okay, I'll roll with it. We went to an island that nobody's apparently ever seen that has a giant lobster protecting it, and then a trio of giant mantises, and we're
Oh
okay with
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah,
We're
that
totally okay with this.
that movie too has an interesting backstory in it in itself, and we'll definitely get to that because I have a feeling with this conversation and this subject matter that this could probably take up 2 or 3 episodes. So we'll definitely want to
Oh,
revisit this.
I have a feeling we could put this in a vote, a special poll just to see if they want to continue. Do a special kaiju cast or art cast and see, watch. All of a sudden, that's all we talk about. Hey, remember that one movie where Godzilla ripped off this guy's arms and then he just let it live in personal hell, where it probably died because Godzilla had better things to do than actually finish him off? I mean, damn. That was one thing I picked up on my binge, which, by the way, if you do have the streaming service HBO Max, they've got a good chunk of, I want to say, between the 50s, 70s range of some of the Godzilla movies.
Yep, that's true.
Not counting the legendary Kong and Godzilla films, not counting that horrible freaking Godzilla movie that they did, where it was like, okay, man, oh, we were trying to make it like the very first one. No, you fucking weren't. The first one, at least even then, I could sit there as a kid and be like, I'm not gonna fall asleep.
Right.
Oh my god, dude, that thing was like a natural sleep aid. That was just so bad, and you finally get to it, it's like, really? Some Jurassic Park hijink bullshit's going on? What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. So,
But
Anguirus, the giant ankylosaurus. This
for the
one,
longest time, I thought he was like some mutant turtle. I thought he's like a dragon turtle. I really did.
and then we get Gamera. Friends to all the children.
Who, let's be real here, if him and Godzilla got into a fight, he would lose.
Oh,
There's
he would
no
lose
way.
hands down. I'm sorry.
I
he
don't
would...
care. I'm sorry. Unpopular opinion if you, to all new Gamera fans, I'm sure, but I'm sorry. Godzilla is like freaking Superman. There is no limit to him. He will just keep getting better. That's like Goku could beat Superman. No, he couldn't. Because Superman was never designed to have any flaw that says, hey, I have to improve.
Mm-hmm.
He has no limit.
So here we've got Sandslash, an armadillo Pokemon. Not a bad pick. Not a bad choice.
You just want to justify naming a Sandslash Anguirus, don't you?
No, because I think that what you suggested as well works even better. Both are ground types, which Anguirus does dig in the dirt.
Getting dirty.
I would suggest Sandslash because he actually does, what is it? Is it Gyro Ball, where he spins?
I believe they both can do a ball-like move now. You're thinking rapid spin, though, I think. Because
Okay.
gyro ball is a projectile-like attack.
Yeah, it's and it's not rollout. I don't think he does rollout. It's something similar to that nature, though.
Oh, it might be rollout, though. Rollout definitely would be a move I could, just by typing alone, I could believe both of them could know without having to look it up. But I mean, there's plenty of they can curl up into a ball-like figure and attack you kind of thing, I'm sure.
Right. And let me just stretch this photo out real quick.
They can even do defense curl, and we could argue that one, I'm sure.
And then, of course, he's got those massive claws right there. So, I think that just for that alone, he probably could be a contender for Anguirus. Plus, you know, who really uses Sandshrew anyway? So
Me.
it kind of
Back in
fits.
the day,
It kind of fits
back in
that
the
bill.
day, back in the day, I totally used to say Slash because I liked the way he looked. I was like one of those original rebels, man. Everyone was like, "Gotta have the Mewtwo, all the legendaries on my team." I'm like, I'm gonna play with the stuff I like. Plus my starter that I put way too much fucking time into.
Fair enough. I didn't. I just mostly had him for collection.
Starter.
Oh no, I had variety on my team back in the day.
I'm messing with you.
I still do, man. But I will say I like your choice for Anguirus more because I feel that he embodies the look and feel of Anguirus way more than Sandslash does. And that would be
dun, 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 dun.
Ryhorn.
Damn Skippy. And we're talking before he becomes Rhydon in Rhyperior. Which at least Rhyperior goes back to looking cool. Freaking Rhydon just made me so sad that he looks so derpy.
Yeah. And you know, it's sad that it took as long as it did for him to even get his third form. Because all we had really was Ryhorn and Rhydon. Rhyperior is pretty good, especially in Pokemon Go. But, yeah, he kind of got pushed to the side despite how cool he looks. And despite being the first Pokemon actually created. In case some of you didn't know that interesting piece
The
of
rhino-looking one is Ryhorn.
Mm-hmm. Who then becomes Rhydon, the bipedal
and then becomes
form.
Still bipedal, but looks way more menacing and justified. Rhyperior.
Yep. And
okay, I can see why he suddenly went bipedal. Motherfucker's got giant arm cannons. Totally worth the sacrifice there.
And he also has, unlike many other Pokemon, he actually has variants when it comes to the sex of his species.
Yep.
Interesting little tidbit there.
I'm glad they've actually kept that going, and they've actually started making it more diverse and more Pokemon actually having obvious. Okay, it might be very small, but it is there to tell.
So, while originally I would have backed Sandshrew as Anguirus, I think I'm going to give it to Ryhorn and say he's got my vote for more inspired by far.
Yeah, Ryhorn definitely is would be the one I'd call Anguirus. Sandslash, maybe something else, but in our pinch, I could go with it and call him Angie.
Angie.
Angie the Aardvark / Anguirus hybrid.
Angie the Aardvark.
Angie the Anguirus Aardvark hybrid bent on world domination, or at least opening a Quiznos.
Speaking of Quiznos, damn, I miss those out here. We definitely need them back.
The minute they went out of business because they got cocky, had no good business model, and when they lost the licensing exclusivity of their one gimmick and didn't adjust their price points, yeah, they got fucked. When your sole gimmick is you serve a hot sandwich, a hot toasted sub, and then your major competitor now can do it too, and then like the ones you weren't really feeling like a threat from, like Togos, yeah, you just got fucked hard.
True. But I still admit that Quiznos did a better toasted sub than anybody else.
Fair.
Alright, so we have Godzilla. we have Anguirus. Toho is starting to build its movie collection. We've got some in between well-known films, some sleeper hits, more obscurities than anything else. And then we come to 63, I believe. And they decide, well, Godzilla has faced a few foes already.
Yep.
We need to have an all-out rumble, East versus West.
Oh, here we go.
And let's bring in Kong.
Nah. I still stand by that movie. It would have made more sense if it was like one of the gargantuans.
Yes.
I mean, it totally would have made more sense.
It
And
would have.
it would have been a way more entertaining movie. I really feel that way.
Let me get a. There we go.
And I
Now,
just realized we missed a freaking opportunity here.
what's that?
The other Pokemon that reminds me of Kong,
Mm-hmm.
freaking a Rillaboom, the final form of the grass bird for chills.
Or we could use Oranguru,
And
even though
that
he's
one's
more of
too-
like.
he's more chill, peace loving, feng shui young monkey.
He is
Am
too
I-
much of an orangutan too, as opposed to being a gorilla, which Kong is. But
I'm not a gorilla. I'm an ape. Okay. You can be. I'm sorry. It's one of those things. I feel like I would just be like, if a monkey talked just to say that to me, I would be like, Well, guess
Yeah.
what? I'm an involved primate. Middle finger, opposable thumbs. Which one of us is in a cage?
well, I'm gonna add Rillaboom to the picks here because I think
Just thought about.
it adds to the variety here because I like it when there are more than one options. Oh, Mr. M is saying there's only one Pokemon who can be Kong.
Okay, and what's that one?
Who does Mr. M think it can be or it should be? I'm intrigued by this.
We haven't even mentioned the first one that we both were like, okay, I guess that could work.
Yeah.
Now he's been put on the spot. It's like AFK, yo.
Mr. M, if you want to join us in the live chat, feel free to hop into my Discord and I will let you join the episode tonight.
Dun dun.
Special guest, Mr. M, a fellow Pokemon trainer.
He's saying slack off. Close, but no cigar.
Oh.
You're thinking slacking.
Yeah. Slacking. I can see that and easily would have been my first pick for sure. Disclaimer, I don't know why in most pictures Slacking is always pinching his nipples.
He's either pinching his nipples or he's picking his nose.
Yeah.
Take your pick. Or
Take your
both.
pick. I don't know why. I
We're
am
not
just
pokey
throwing
fetish.
that out there.
He's basically saying, disclaimer, we are not into kinky fetishes like that, yo.
Mm-hmm.
If you are, please keep it to yourself. This does not reflect on our programming.
Right.
I like when he's like, not exactly how I would have worded it, but let's go with that.
Yeah, well, Slackoff is he's the before stage. And then there's the one in between where he's got like the big nose and he's got like the barrel of monkey arms going. And then Slack King is this one. So you're
Sorry,
definitely
I'm real quick. I love it. Like everyone's now in the chat just going off because the joke I dropped. Everyone's now talking about sandwich shops in the chat.
Hey, that's fine. We'll keep it open-minded here.
We've officially made people hungry.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh, and Ryan, real quick before we get back on the track, the link to that image that you put, that is a monster from Ultraman. I can't remember which one. It was one of the way earlier ones. Ooh. And we are back on track with Zomu going, bad Marsh Josh, or not Marsh Josh, bad Josh Shadow, bad, back in your Pokeball.
I'm not pulling up a
Pokeball.
I am not breaking out the Pokeball just yet. So let me just extend an invite.
So we've got Slacking, and then I dropped Rillaboom because I just thought about that. I'm like,
there we go.
Give Kong some dress. He definitely could work.
I feel like Slack King could be the Kong in the 60s version, and Rillaboom can be the Kong in the newer films.
In the Legendaries set?
Yes.
Be the quote, Kaiju monkey?
Yes. That's how I would look at it, for sure.
His special Kaiju power is he can use tools.
Mm-hmm. And a drum set.
No, I'm talking about Legendaries Kong.
Oh, you're talking about Legendary. Okay. Well, yeah, he did make a crude tool. He did.
No, he found a crude tool. Somebody else had already made that shit. He didn't make it himself. Don't try to give him more credit than he deserves.
I'm
He's
not
like,
trying to.
Wait, this looks like an axe. I totally do this.
Whoops.
Wait, this looks like a skill off that thing that's been fucking with me. Then turned out to be a giant robot that was fucking with me. I should go use this just to piss off the real one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what that felt like.
So, yeah, this one,
It's Rillaboom. I'm sorry, I have to give it to Rillaboom.
I think if we want them to come off as like fierce, for sure, we'd have to give it to Rillaboom. Slack King was just like the easy pick, but I completely overlooked him too.
But for so long, I mean, up until literally Sword, he pretty much, I guarantee you, everybody, if you were to buy an old game where they didn't clear the data, you will find that had a Slack King. There's probably one named fucking Kong.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense.
I mean, there's enough of them.
Right. So, I think I would have to go Rillaboom on that one too. For sure.
I mean, as far as, like, if I was going to say, oh, they looked at Kaiju and specifically this is how he's inspired, definitely Rillaboom would be inspired. Slack King is like, they went to a zoo and they're like, hey, we don't have a gorilla. Let's do this gorilla.
Yeah. If Zarude actually
Yeah, Zarude is like it reminds me of that monkey from freaking Ace Ventura Pet Detective, Spike.
Uh-huh.
That's what it reminds me of, just a giant one of those.
Yeah.
Like, which I never got. I freaking missed the stupid GameStop thing because it was happening during COVID, and it's like, yeah, no. The one GameStop in my town, it was like literally closed, and we didn't even know if they were going to open back up.
Oh, jeez.
Like, it was anytime you went even by there to try to brave the strip mall to go to the store to try to get something, it was like bars are still up, it is dark, there's like nobody in there for a while. So I'm like,
Dang.
yep, they probably didn't get it. And it wasn't like, oh, you can get a card, scratch it off, and give your code to your friend. No, they want you to, number one, travel with your Switch and download it. I'm like, going, this one's in a ghetto where there's a lot of homeless and there's crack dealers and shit mugging people, apparently. Yeah, let me bring the $300 system and stand outside the store to download a code. Yeah, no. Sorry, not happening.
Oh. So yeah, I think just to go against the trend, um, I would go with Rillaboom for Kong, and
Yeah, definitely.
once he's released in Go, I'm gonna name that. I'm gonna name him Kong.
To answer your question, games, movies, and comics R Us, certain Pokemon cards do have a lot of money, but condition is everything. And if you want the big money, you have to get it professionally graded
Yeah,
and then find that one person that wants to buy it. Like, there are
exactly.
certain ones that do not matter what condition they are in because they were like an absurdly low draw chase card that you can get stupid money for. But they've also made reprints for like, oh, there was this one guy who won the national tournament and we decided to remake his deck for everyone to buy. But it doesn't cheapen it at all, but you have to watch out and make sure you get the real card.
I mean, it goes beyond what used to be considered the most highly valuable card out there, and that was the holographic first edition Charizard for many years. Now there are cards that surpass that in
There's,
dollar value by far.
there's ones that are like VMAX, like it's a thing they do in a lot of card games now. Like, for instance, there's a card game called Weiss Shorts. My friend Leica is trying to get me into it, and I'm like looking into it. There are cards that apparently there's rare, and then like there's 4 different fucking versions of rare above it, and I'm like going, wow. Then there's cards they legit have in packs and shit that are signed by the voice actors in Japan. They're like triple digit crazy money cards, and I'm like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let me get some of those Disgaea signed cards, please. I wouldn't mind having those. I don't know if I want to spend like $100 for a small little card. No, 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 no.
I mean, we face that as it is when it comes to collecting video games. You know, do we really want to drop that much money on this piece of plastic, or are we going to,
Yeah, but see,
actually?
here's the difference between a piece of plastic and a trading card. One has an endearingness to it, where it's nostalgia, almost guaranteed. It'll be well kept, seen more often. One is a small piece of paper that, if you try to shuffle it into a deck play, you take damage, and every time you use that item, it is decreasing in value.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or let's put it this way: one is a hell of a lot more flammable than the other. One is more water soluble than the other.
I guess so. So I'm gonna leave that one up for posterity there. I guess Rillaboom is the winner when it comes to being Kong the most. Again, I have no issue with that.
It's like I said, we have the first Godzilla versus Kong movie where it was supposed to be the Frankenstein monster, but at last minute they changed it. That was slacking. Then we have the legendary one where Rillaboom shows up.
Mm-hmm. That's the way I'm gonna look at it. I think that's a fair assessment. Give the outdated Kong slacking, and then give Rillaboom the newer one.
I'm definitely gonna stand by that. Yeah, I was gonna say specifically which one took inspiration from the other. From what we're talking, the kaiju, I would have, or in this case, giant monkey. I'm
Yeah.
going to say Rillaboom definitely, not its Gigantamax variant form. I'm saying definitely that one did, as opposed to Slacking that looks like we didn't have. Well, they went to a zoo and went, "Oh, we don't have a gorilla Pokemon. Let's make a gorilla."
Right.
And he's not even a happy gorilla. He's one of those lazy, kind of giving up on life gorillas.
Yeah. He more is based off a sloth than anything.
Well, it's like exactly. The first two forms are definitely sloth. Then you get to Slacking, and he is straight up a gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pig-nosed gorilla with a receding hairline.
A pig-nosed gorilla with a receding hairline.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm not gonna argue. I can see that too. Poor Slacking. No respect. But then again,
No respect, I tell you.
does
Now
he?
he's gonna have that Rodney Dangerfield voice until when he talks.
Right?
No respect, I tell you. No respect. Even in hell, I can't get any respect.
No respect. No regard. All right. So, we've had Godzilla. We've had Anguirus. We've now had him fight what would have been considered an American oversized animal rather than a kaiju. But
We're just gonna say this: if you consider calling a true Kaiju, you need to leave now. Don't let the digital door hit you on the way out. We'll call you.
So now we move on to, I'm gonna say, Godzilla's probably second most known rival slash partner in some films. So let's bring out Mothra. If I can get the image to work again. Because technology.
Limitations, bandwidth, etc., etc.
Okay,
Oh,
that'll have to do.
That one and half the body and part of the wing spread there.
Yeah, that'll have to do.
For those that don't know what Mothra is, here's a half.
Here's
One
half
of
of
those
Mothra.
Here's one of those trendy pages where you gotta buy the other half of the book to make the full image.
Oh, don't even remind me of those. I hate those to this day.
That shit's coming back and it's annoying.
That's kind of the reason why I don't like when games do DLC, because I feel like it's kind of like that in the way.
We've talked in length on my position on DLC. I feel certain things, yeah, if it's not a major fucking obvious chunk of the game you decide to put behind the paywall, I might work with it. But if it's something that's like literally like the last Pokemon game did, where it's like very goddamn obvious they had this shit, they just decided to hold a strand of code not to make it accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Shame on you. You should not be doing that Ubisoft buy your way model bullshit. It's like, if I'm okay if, here's some extra armor or something that was from a previous game that people really liked, but it does not like majorly affect the game in any way. Cool, neat, whatever. But when it's things like major game components, yeah, no, that's not okay. But anyway, back on point. Mothra.
Yep, one of Godzilla's well-known enemies and slash partners, I guess you can say. Godzilla has fought Mothra quite a few times, both in the final stage moth form and in the larval stage. Which, coincidentally enough, Pokemon has that with some of its insect types. And
Yep.
we pose a question of, where do you think Mothra fits in?
Definitely, as far as like overall design, like just giant size and like how the bug compound eyes look and everything, probably Butterfree.
Butterfree, huh?
I mean, Butterfree or definitely Venomoth. Venom. I don't want to enunciate it. I'd say we're inspired by that kind of design.
Yeah, definitely Butterfree and Venomoth for sure. They were the earliest forms of insects that resembled that. Now, granted, we did get Beautifly,
Nope.
and
I wouldn't consider Beautifly because of its one massive, massive thing it's got going against it.
what's that?
The fact they want that giant like mosquito like nose that they gave it to be more like a real butterfly.
Yeah.
Nope. And Motham's out simply because it is a gender exclusive, and Mothra is not a dude. And no, don't come at me with that, is a trans Pokemon because I'm not going to go there. That's a whole area I don't want to get into.
No, what I was gonna say is that in the new Mothra trilogy, Mothra was referred to as a male when it was reborn. So I don't know if that's an error on the American dubbing or the American subtitling, but Mothra was referred to as a he.
Mothra is like supposed to be one of those gender female type kaiju, if I remember right. Like it only is only female for some reason, but who knows?
Well, you can get male and female Butterfree. I think
This is true.
I think
Like
the difference lies in like their wings, if I remember right.
it's a marking on their wings, and I think like antenna height or something is slightly different.
Yeah, something like that. There's a subtle difference. Nothing like major.
It's the Venusaur thing where you would, if no one told you to like go, hey, look, you notice that seed popping out of the center of the flower, you would never really pay it much mind.
Right. This is true. And you wouldn't notice the little bud sticking out.
I mean, it's not like freaking Wobbuffet where it's like we slapped lipstick on it.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, yep, that is definitely obvious.
All right. So, whoops. Not what I wanted to do. But yes, we have Butterfree. I'm also going to throw Butterfree in there too because of its Gigantamax form. Which...
Yeah, it's got that looking like it's dropping, what, pollen or dust or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
So we can see that for sure. And again, Butterfree has kind of like the similar eyes, the antenna, the little mouth and whatnot. So I guess we would rule out Beautifly. And what's up, Mazen? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. Butter Mothra, I like that. But let's throw in another contender. Let's throw in Volcarona, or however you say that. Volcanorona.
I think it's Volcarona.
I'm gonna try to...
Yeah, it's literally on the females. There's just on the bottom of the wings. It's blacked out instead, like one of the things that's just blacked out instead of white. There's one less white part in the wing on the bottom. That's all it is.
Yeah, I think it's like if you look at where Butterfree's bottom is, there's like those little spots there that are colored in.
Yeah. It's that. It's like delusive eyes kind of approach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily. I'd have to definitely give it to Butterfree because Volcarona, why, yeah, it's like flavor Texas depending on what game you play. Sound way more close to Mothra's. Butterfree definitely has more of the Mothra-inspired design.
could we argue then that Volcarona might be Batra?
Could be if he wants to fight off. Where I would, the only contender I would think I'd put to its throne for the throne would be Venomoth for sure because of the way the headdress and stuff is.
Yeah.
It reminds me way more. I mean, but definitely I'm gonna have to side with OG Butterfree for Mothra's design inspiration.
Let me get a picture of Venomoth real fast, just for the sake of.
He's like, let me get this other winged insect. Dun dun dun.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. Let's try to base it off of appearance and attacks. Of course, Butterfree still has the win because of sleep powder and stun.
Butterfree, or not Butterfree, Moth ever spit out fire into everybody. I saw it catch everywhere. Dun, dun, dun. So, let's definitely say hi to everyone that we have not announced to. Even though we missed her and she just left. Carla, welcome to the Pokebox. Mr. Matthews, welcome to the Pokebox. Retro Ryan, welcome to the Pokebox. Thumbs, I believe I welcomed you, but if I didn't, I apologize. Moz Power, welcome to our Pokebox. Linda the Gamer Gal, welcome to the Pokebox. And anyone else we missed, I apologize if you're lurking or you have made yourself known and I didn't see it or welcome you. You have been welcomed.
So, what do we think now? Argument still stands. Butterfree is the best representation of Mothra, or
I'm literally waiting for YouTube to reload so I can see the image. I would still give it to Butterfree.
Yeah.
Because Mothra, even in its early days, still had that way cutesy kind of feel to it.
Yep. Even do you feel that her redesign is way more cutesy, or do you think the original is?
I think it's just the thing. It's just the trend that's always stuck around with her, because her story evolved more and more that she's like some cosmic protector deity, and they just ran with it with like a goddess moth. So it's like, okay, I could see how we're gonna try to make it more and more elegant and all that.
Right, and they definitely took off with that because of her popularity.
I mean, in those movies, in the 90s, 80s movies, that's where her wings got way more, like, vibrant, outstanding, outlandish color, you know?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause if you look at the original one, it was like, you'd almost think this is just a dirty old moth, but no, in the later stuff, they're like, look at all this vibrant color it has, and all this, like, okay.
Right. Okay, so I guess we are definitely in favor of Butterfree being the Mothra representation.
Yep.
And Mazin states, Venomothra sounds badass, but I have to give the point to Butterfree. Yep. I think all around,
pretty much,
Butterfree just, despite being a butterfly and not a moth, encompasses way more of Mothra than any of the other insects do.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to come to the final movie of tonight's discussion. Again, we are doing this in chunks, so if you guys want to see a part 2, part 3, definitely drop a comment at the end of this video. Or if you are a part of my Discord, feel free to suggest your support for a part 2 to this topic or any other topics that come to mind.
So, if you suggest a movie, please be warned, we may have to show stills because last time that got hairy.
Yeah, we got silenced.
I think a couple times in a way we're like talking and all of a sudden it's like blink. Do we restart? Do we just give it a second? They're like, oh, you can come back up, and we're like talking about something completely different. And it's like, oh, we're back.
Yep.
Like we missed a commercial break.
We definitely got slammed by the law on that one.
Breaking the law.
Breaking the law. So now we've had Godzilla himself, we've had Anguirus, we've had him east versus west with Kong, and then we had his bout with Mothra. Well, who do we have to fight next? Well,
There are a few contenders for that one. I'm kind of in the dark on which one you're gonna pick.
I'm actually going to incorporate both of them, but we'll do one first and save the best for last. And that is the film 1964, 65, I want to say. And that featured count them, three monsters. The first that was introduced was Godzilla's ally, and his head is unfortunately being cut off there. Doesn't bother me because I am not a fan of this kaiju. I feel that
Didn't Rodan originally that was like Toho's technically real American kaiju, because didn't it attack New York or some shit like that?
it does attack New York. I think they did that in Godzilla Final Wars. I don't remember.
I'm talking about like
its debut film.
I'm gonna check that real quick because I could swear that was like supposedly where he attacked. He's one of those ones that didn't attack Japan first.
Mm-hmm.
Then later they just like anytime he made an appearance, it was Japan.
Right. There we go. Just trying to get this to even out some. Unfortunately, it's just not working with me. But let's see if I can condense it a bit more.
No, I'm looking for.
All right, we'll just leave it at that for now. So
Now I'm like determined to find out where the hell he attacked first.
with the release of Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, who is probably well known as Godzilla's most favorite adversary, and take it from us, Ghidorah is relentless. That creature does not stay dead, no matter what incarnation it's in.
Oh no, I was wrong. I must be thinking Final Wars or one of those.
Yeah,
But
he did attack New York in Final Wars. I think in his debut film, he did attack Japan, though.
Yeah, I think he was like awoken by miners or something like that.
Yeah, because he lives in a volcano.
Yeah, and he was like a bat.
Mm-hmm.
Which was weird because like going, he's like a bird pterodactyl freaking monster, but he sleeps like a goddamn bat in a mountain.
Yeah. And when you see him in Godzilla on Monster Island, he's got like a nest, but he still sleeps the same way, which doesn't make sense.
Do what you gotta do, I suppose, but...
Now,
yeah.
This one is kind of a dead giveaway, honestly, because of the fact that while Pokemon has started to introduce more and more dinosaurs into their repertoire or catalog, as whatever you want to call it, there really isn't many different pterodactyl representations. So I think the way that we could debate this is, do we give the win to Aerodactyl, or do we give the win to its mega form?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That would be like going, okay, that'd be almost like the Slacking Rillaboom kind of situation. Okay, early first appearance, now new, fresh, modern, legendary appearance kind of feel there.
And yet, it did nothing for Rodan, because in the new films, he's still as much a punk as he was in these films. You know,
it was weird when you mention that for a minute they were like really trying to pump him up, and then they went out to their traditional Godzilla does this whole cool down. Maybe the Americans could pick up and make some movie franchise moment, and he just like got cooled off. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like we're trying to build him up, build him up, build him up, build him up, and then we just let it go.
Right. And that's kind of the reason why I take issue with that, because the film, especially the newer one, made him out to be the biggest coward ever. Like, he's the first one to literally bow down before Ghidorah. And
And yet, in OG style, he's one of the first to say "fuck you" and try to fight him down.
exactly, even though he really doesn't contribute much to the fight, he's still like, yo, I'll help, whatever, you know? And
Yep.
this was after he had just had his debut movie. I don't think the popularity was there much for Rodan as there was for, say, Mothra, but he started to make more and more appearances throughout the series as it went on. But
Oh yeah.
his
But
role
that's
as
like
a fighter definitely diminished.
it's like basically how he got launched is he's this terror, this absolute destructive force. And then here's Mothra, like, very first appearances is this, like, I want to be friends to the people. I'm not here to kill or necessarily destroy your world. I have nothing against you.
Mm-hmm.
Has Rodan is like, you fucked with me and I was completely okay with it. What the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
Now it's like, yeah, not a fair start there. But to be fair, you got to think, okay, I got, you might be flooding the market too much with too many reptilian-like monsters. Which, I'm sorry, Rodan's a scaly, Godzilla's a scaly, and versus a scaly. It's like, okay, I can see why Mothra kind of edged out. Let's build and solo film this character.
Mm-hmm.
It was different. It was given that whole "I'm a friend of the people" vibe, as opposed to the other monsters are like, I am going to punish you in some way.
Right. I mean, even Gamera is friends to the children, so.
Specifically the children, folks. So if you don't reproduce, you may be in trouble. But then his rogues gallery was so whack looking, though.
Oh yeah, they were worse than half the Ultraman catalog. Like, they weren't even that inspiring.
Like some of the newer stuff, when they started bringing in like CGI effects and stuff, that helped Gamera. That really helped Gamera's movies.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, okay, now he's fighting something interesting that would make sense for his power act. Yeah, I can understand that. I would have to say, depending on what version of Rodan we're talking about, this one's kind of tough, even though it's the same Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd have to say the Mega form has to, because it definitely looks more like Rodan.
And I would give the utility of Mega Aerodactyl to the original Rodan as well, just because of the fact that Rodan may have not been as powerful as the other kaiju, but he was useful in some ways.
Yep.
Mega Aerodactyl, when you raid with him in Go, is very useful, whereas normal Aerodactyl really doesn't do much because he's kind of useless in that stage. So I think I would give Mega Aerodactyl the original Rodan appearance and give Aerodactyl the new Rodan appearance.
There you go.
I think that's how I would settle that, honestly, because I want to be able to give them more than just their appearance. Like, the utility factor is there too. And Mega Aerodactyl especially has been helping with raids in Go. I've not used his form in other games yet, but he's definitely an asset in that way.
He's definitely one of the fun ones to use. He's like tournament style, if you were into that. He's very specialized.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember him being on any kind of ban list, though. Not like freaking Mega Kangaskhan, where you could literally do a juggle trick and just kill, like, one turn, kill every Pokemon in somebody's roster.
Yep.
Unless you were me, the guy who freaking went through the battle, through the flames, and is like, yeah, I know how to handle cookie cutter shit. Watch this. I poison your stupid ass, and then I just lion wall my way through it and hope to survive, outlive you. Yeah, you're gonna either A, get tired of this fight and bow out, or you're going to die, and I'm still gonna win. Yeah, I'm an evil, methodical thinker. I apologize.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, especially when it comes to playing a card game. Hell, even playing in the video game is like that.
Well, I was talking about the video game scene.
All right, let me get the final kaiju for discussion tonight.
Ooh, who could it be?
I think this
Could it be
is
the smog monster? No.
Oh no, Hydra.
It's not the lobster monster, is it? No.
Although I will say this, Hydra is going to be interesting to debate considering all that apply. I think he's got at least 2 or 3 contenders that could fit the bill as
I'm gonna spoil this shit right now and tell you the one that always is to this day, I don't care what variant it is, I would have to give it to Muck.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's the one that just reminds me of him.
All right. Now, I'm not disagreeing with that. I could definitely see Muck being the contender for that. There are others though, for sure, that we'll have to throw in the ring. But
like Scyther, nah, not Scyther. We all know who Scyther would be.
Kamanga, or what do they call those? Korokurus.
Wait, let's see. If we're doing by the English dub, the Gimantis.
Oh yeah, the Gimantis. No, Kamanga was the spider. That's right.
Like in the first time I think showed up, they just called it Spider in the dub. I was like, oh my god, really? We're just gonna. We went through the process of coming up with a creative name for the other cannon fodder, but this one we just went. It's a spider. It's like, bitch, you've been on this island how long?
Well,
and you know what I mean?
I mean, Mothra's first title was originally The Thing.
I'm just saying, it was one of those things I just sat there going, really?
Right.
Come on, man. Like, at least the scientists made some effort. You just kind of was like, the spider. It's a trap spider. I'm like, really? Okay, well, there's only one person that even remotely gets close to Ghidorah in this.
Yeah, there's no debating this at all.
Well, there is, but I mean, it's a tough sell. It's a really tough sell.
There we go.
Is it Hydrogon? I think its name is.
Or Hydrogon, however you want to say it, because part of the name is Swiss. Dry for 3.
Yeah.
So
we all know where this one was inspired from.
Mm-hmm. And what stinks though is that while I like the original design, the shiny form comes even closer to resembling Ghidorah.
Well, the green to the green and the purple for the British color.
What about the British colors?
I'm sorry, basically the purple and green scheme versus the blue and the other scheme that it has here. It's still and then there's the way deeper black, I think it is.
Yeah.
It's not as dulled out. It's more vibrant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's about really all you could debate there is which color variant is closer. You think? I mean, this one's a give me. There's really no debate here.
There's no debating this one.
Like, which color variant do you think is better and why? Well, let's see. There's no, it doesn't have a special Dynamax form. It doesn't have a special region variant. I mean, it's one of those. The only thing different from him to Ghidorah is he's kind of that British punk rocker look thing going on.
Yeah, and also the two heads on the sides are more like hands than they are heads and necks.
Yeah.
Although you could argue that either way.
I mean, it depends on what pose he's in, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could argue that.
Like in the lax pose, they're usually more draped like arms than they are. Oh, look, my wings are my arms comparatively.
Mm-hmm.
They're not they're not high shoulder mounted.
So yeah, Hydrogon, no competition.
Yeah, I can see where you get that Geeks with Cash. It's definitely where their positioning is, but it's one of those things. If you look at, depending on the illustrator of the image, how they illustrate what it's doing, its action, it will change it up. It's really the only difference is the wings never move to the side; they are definitely back mounted, as opposed to Ghidorah, who's are side mounted, and then Hydrogon here has one tail, He has two, which I'm sorry makes more goddamn aerodynamic sense to me than Ghidorah's. I do not see how two tails benefit you in flight at all.
Yeah, I never understood that one either.
Because if they are in some way, then why didn't Godzilla? If one of those tails gets ripped off, he ain't flying anywhere. He's flying in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
One of these days, I gotta figure out how to do that thing where I can pop up comments from my chat on my my own channel streams. But yeah, it's a mixed bag. It's like we said, this one's a give me. There's no special. Oh look, here's a contender to the throne. As of yet, I mean, we've got 123 days.
Yeah.
Until the next new game comes out to see if they put out a new 3-headed variant monster.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we have Dodrio, but it's an ostrich.
Yeah, no, that one doesn't. I feel the limitation has to be you have to be a dragon type at least with multi-head to count.
Yeah,
as a contender.
That's true.
Now, going by back then, the very beginning, since Dodrio was the only 3-headed Pokemon, I'm sure some old cards, if their batteries still are holding enough charge to keep the save alive, or the save's still there. I've played games where the battery doesn't work, but the saves are still in the game somehow. It's like, yeah, you definitely probably came across a Ghidorah or some half-ass spelling because you probably couldn't fit the whole damn name in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let me put it this way. It is not like the first Dragon Warrior monster where you get literally only 4 characters to rename your character, any monsters you train in your team. It's like, no. At least they were kind enough to make enough space you could try to rename your monster. But...
well...
So, where do we segue now? What is the next stage?
Now that we've talked about Godzilla and various friends and foes, let's talk about would we want to keep or release them. We are jumping into catch or trash.
Fan favorite.
Mm-hmm. Now, again, this is where we look at both the normal and its shiny variant and decide whether or not we catch, aka keep, one or the other, or both, or we trash. Release them. They serve no purpose whatsoever.
And we're starting off with Tyranitar.
Godzilla himself.
For me, I've always liked both of them. It's just when it comes to the shiny, it depends on what version of the game you're playing.
Yeah.
Because brown is some it's a copper brown, some it's a mud butt brown, and some it's just, okay, he's like a tan, semi dried out leaf brown. And I would catch both of them because Tyranitar is one of those Pokemon that if you put the effort into training it, all the gimmicks of training one, they are like a go-to reliable member for a huge part of your team.
Oh yeah, they cover both the dark types well, and what is it, ground or rock?
They're ground type. They're dark ground.
Dark ground.
So
yeah.
they're not rock where rock just freaking just blows over. Linda says she'll catch both too.
Yeah.
You said it, so
I think
we've definitely got the win here for Tyranitar.
I think I would catch both as well, but I would probably stick with the normal color just to give it that homage to Godzilla.
Yeah, I mean, plus it's the more common one you're going to come across, because some games, Tyranitars, or not Tyranitars, Larvitars and Pupitars are way more common to find.
In Pokemon Go, they're a pain to get. You mostly have to raid for Larvitar or Tyranitar, or hopefully you get lucky hatching a 12-kilometer egg and hope that it hatches from that. I was so grateful that I want to say I raided for my Hundo Larvitar, and then I couldn't wait to best buddy that, so definitely got my Hundo ready for when he gets his Mega.
And then he'll become Space Jira.
Yep, Space Godzilla.
I don't care what anybody says. People say it's such a bad movie and don't understand why I love it. I'm just like, the idea and the creativity is there. The fight could have been better, but I think considering how that whole trio of movies came to exist and why, it's good enough.
Especially considering Space Godzilla has 2 or 3 different origin stories depending upon which one you subscribe to.
I mean, my favorite one was he somehow was literally spawned from some DNA from the original Godzilla that Mothra, when it flew off into space,
carried.
When it it fell in a black hole, time warp, compression. He came back and he's just stuck in an angry fuck you phase.
Right.
Like an angry teenager, basically. Daddy never loved me. It's like, well, Daddy didn't know you existed. Daddy didn't know you existed, motherfucker.
All right. Now we have Ryhorn, a.k.a. our pick for Anguirus.
Before time vibes.
You know, that was kind of messed up, too, when all this time we thought Littlefoot's dad was dead and he was actually leading another herd. And then Littlefoot has daddy issues.
Hold on a minute, hold on. This is supposed to be something like that after the first one bullshit right there.
It was.
I thought so. Because I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I subscribed to the very first amazing movie. It was like, for a kid's movie, that was kind of fucked up when you think about it.
Yeah.
They're showing parents get done in and shit. It's like, oh, damn.
The Don Bluth original is the most classic and the best in the series, honestly. But
I'm pretty sure I still have my childhood VHS in storage. I hope so, because that would really make me sad if that went missing.
Did you get yours from Pizza Hut, or did you get yours in stores?
It was a gift from my mom, so I really don't know where she got it.
Ah.
Well, one of those things my mom kind of surprised me and my sister with when we were little.
Fair enough.
So it's like, I don't know where she got it. I didn't care. I just knew it was a movie I watched a ton.
Yep, it's probably my favorite Don Bluth film out of all of them. And that might not be a popular vote considering a lot of people love All Dogs Go to Heaven. But Land Before Time was definitely my favorite. And
Sorry,
American
Land
Tail.
Before Time, American Tail. As far as like any of those two that had like a sequel going, Five Wolves Goes West I liked as a kid for sure.
I did. Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't a fan of all the Land Before Time, Chomper's Revenge bullshit like crap. It's like, nah, we don't need that crap. Get out of here with that noise.
Oh, Linda got hers in the store, apparently. If I'm reading that right. Very cool. I just remember the Pizza one has like, I think, a sticker or like a seal on the VHS cover that shows it was purchased through them. Like, you can get one for $4.99 when you buy a large pizza or something like that. I remember some little gimmick.
Let's see here.
But anywho, Angress, aka Ryhorn. Linda says
I would
catch both.
I would definitely catch both. Now, when it comes to its shiny final form, Rhyperior, I definitely would go with the original, the norm.
I would agree. I like the shiny Ryhorn. It resembles Angress way more, but I don't like that sickly gray and yellow combo that shiny Rhyperior gets. I like the original more. But
so there was one. So I'm looking up the pictures for the first cover.
Mm-hmm.
Like the VHSs, there was a clamshell one, and then there was this original cardboard slip cover.
Right.
I had the cardboard slip cover, so
and
wherever you had to get that one from. See, this one shows the tape.
So I guess.
And there's. I don't see any like special sticker on it, but either way, it was one of my favorite childhood movies for sure.
Still one of my said we're all going to catch these. Normal and shiny. Woo! Let's give some Ryhorn love there. Still a badass in many ways, even if you are 2 times weak to a lot of things. You're still a badass. And you are the first Pokemon ever. Must never forget that. Okay. Moving on to...
Never surrender.
American Godzilla versus King Kong here. Slack King.
Isn't like one just like black fur and with a grayish tone, and the other one's like, brown, normal.
Yeah, just slight variations in the fur color, and the pig nose. Oh, thanks,
Honestly,
Geeks. Have a good nap, and I hope work treats you well. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Linda says trash both.
I agree. I mean, slacking isn't exactly that amazing.
Getting rid of them. You can
sit there. Honestly, he doesn't. Even if you have a Pokemon ability, when they brought in powers, he was just garbage. It's like, yay, you got a Slacking.
Mm-hmm.
You can sit there and train it to be this badass thing, but it may or may not actually be badass.
And it rests most of the time. It does nothing. It's a good
Exactly.
It's a good gym defender and go, but that's about it.
If it decides it wants to attack, yeah, good. You definitely have some badass. Now, is it going to attack something and go or in the gym? Probably not, because it's stacked against you.
Mm-hmm. So, I think, I'd have to trash these myself. I don't think I would. I think I would have them in the sense that, oh, look, I have them, but would I keep them around, like, as part of my team? Probably not, so, yeah.
Nope. He's the Pokemon that you take out back like Old Yeller. It's like, got the Dex data, bye. With it.
It didn't do anything.
He knew what he did. I told him to watch it. I told him this would happen. He didn't believe me.
This is easy for me.
Like, this is easy for you, and I'm like waiting for a screen to load because you're not like screen sharing with me in real time.
Yeah, this one is an easy pick for me. Whether you consider Butterfree or Volcanrona more of Mothra,
I'd catch both because I like them.
I would too. Just
No, I miss though that like in Silver, the original Silver, Gold, Crystal, his shiny was actually a pink color.
Yeah.
It's not like it is now. But I cut you off, so please finish your sentence.
Oh no, I was just gonna say the pink variant reminds me of the anime appearance of that female Butterfree, and plus Butterfree is like OG, so
He's that Pokemon everybody catches and has on their team until something better comes along.
exactly.
Like, hey, you're my first level stage 3 Pokemon. Oh look, here's a Cubone. Later.
Right? Or you use him because he's got confusion at least, and then when you get an Abra, you're like, okay, don't need Butterfree anymore.
He's like that fun, helpful buddy to catch other Pokemon, and then you catch other Pokemon. You're like, don't need you anymore. I can find somebody to do a better job than you.
Put you in the box.
Don't worry, buddy. We'll bring you back out to the big leagues later. I promise.
That's actually one of Little Zombie's favorite skits from the if the Pokedex entries were literal. Or no, not that one. It's the one where they hate their evolutions. He likes that bit a lot.
Those are great, but some of those you gotta be careful with him because they're kind of adult themed.
Well, some we don't let him hear all the way, but the one with Weedle,
like the Lopunny one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Why am I so sexy?
But we don't mind the Weedle and Caterpie one because he always busts out laughing when Cocoon is like, what is he gonna do? Put us in a PC box? That'll never. And before he even says happen, it cuts to them both in the box and they're floating. And
floating in the void.
Yeah, and Metapod's like, this is hell. This is absolute hell.
I imagine it would be.
And there's a Porygon for no reason back there. Yeah, Lil Z loves that one.
Oh yeah, I remember you told me he really liked Pokemon Rusty.
Yes, he does. He really does like Pokemon Rusty. I like the one where he's actually the smart version of Rusty, like the one that's featured in If Pokemon Trainers Were Actually Smart. I like that version more of him.
Look, I already put this out there when we were doing we'd both be playing Arceus at the same time when we were just chatting. Freaking I'd cut any gigantic freaking alpha Bidoof, I would have to name it freaking Peanut Butter.
Yep.
And then you have to have that one, catch another one, just call him Badoof.
Badoof, yep. Shuckle.
Sadly, I have to give this more towards the normal because I was never like big on the whole pinky, light lavender skin tone.
So
on the shiny.
Yeah.
I mean, it just totally like Barney Eyes the crap out of Aerodactyl. It's shiny. It's like, nope. I don't hear him now saying, "You imagination is power." And what's the statutes on an overgrown dinosaur touching little kids?
Oh, brother.
With their imagination. I don't think that's gonna hold up in court.
Yeah, I'm not too much of a fan of the shiny. I feel like it does give him that cartoony, friendly appeal
It gives him like toddler cartoon educational PBS vibes.
Yeah, yeah. And I always like the gray version anyway because that's just his better color choice in my opinion.
It makes it seem like he's a predator, like he's trying to blend in with his surroundings and then strike, like a lot of his stuff said.
Mm-hmm.
Linda's saying, "Screw us both." She'd
Both.
catch both of them. She's like, "You guys are assholes. I'd catch both."
I guess for the sake of having an Aerodactyl, I would catch both of them. But if I,
The shinies in the box. The shinies
yeah,
in the box.
the shinies in the box, fire, fire.
It puts it on, gets, or else it gets put in the box again. What?
Put the lotion in the basket. I mean, what?
I mean,
All right.
for sure.
And our last round of Catch or Trash. Ghidorah, Hydrogon. Catch both instantly. Don't even have to think twice about it.
Of course, everybody, for sure, definitely catch both. I mean, especially the freaking shiny. The shiny one just looks freaking evil.
Yeah, it does. Like sickly
That thing looks
evil.
like, that thing looks like it honestly could poison you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Its normal form's still evil looking, but it's like, I'm just gonna fuck you up. The other one's like, I am going to mess you up and leave you something to remember me by.
Mm-hmm. Like it would stain your soul. Nightmare
fuel.
Yeah. I would not be surprised. And I need to check the Pokemon Center to see if they finally made a plushie of him. I don't know if they have yet.
Yeah, let's find out. Let's see.
I'm waiting for Lycanroc to finally have a plushie too. But I want the dust form.
Yeah, he does have the Polka doll.
Mm-hmm.
But it like sold out crazy freaking fast.
I am not surprised.
Oh my god, really? Why do you keep doing that crap to me?
Oh, sounds like you're being Porygoned.
Oh shit. Let's see. See right now. As far as what's available, no. The only 3 Pokédolls that were Dragon they had was Dreepy, Dracovolt, and Dracovish, and they are sold out of those ones.
Hmm. Well,
So, and I'm looking specifically at Pokédoll. You said.
I'm still holding out for my Gyarados, Rayquaza, and definitely Kyogre plushes.
Yeah, they show the Lycanroc Dusk form plush and the Midday plush form, but they are sold out as well.
All right. Well,
And Lycanroc has been on my list too, the Dusk form.
Mm-hmm. I want a shiny one though because that's the closest I'm gonna get to owning Talbane.
Well, if you're gonna do that, you might as well get Midnight form because at least it's bipedal.
Yeah, his shiny is blue and white.
I suggest checking Etsy and events. There are people that make quote unquote shiny Poké Dolls.
Yeah.
They look like the original, but they're obviously not the original.
Mm-hmm.
But they're their color variant.
Close enough, so to say.
Pretty much, it's like it's using that pattern, but it might not meet quality standards, and obviously it's not an official color or have that official tag. I mean, there are some official shiny Poké plushes, but they're very few and far between.
We'll have to do a highlight next episode at the start to kind of showcase a little bit more of what the Pokemon Center has been adding with its inventory, because with Pokemon Go being done, there's going to be a ton of stuff.
Did you see the giant jumbo size scenery sculpture they just put out in their store?
I have not.
I got an email and it had this featured in it. It's It's called the Ocean of Friendship figure. It's $350. It's basically all water types. Its dimensions are 15.2 by 11.8 by 19.1 inches.
Dang.
And it weighs 247 ounces.
I am
It
gonna
has
have
15. It has 15 different Pokemon represented in it.
I'm gonna have to check that out soon then.
I mean, it's crazy. It's one of those things I'm like, and I bet you you're gonna see some bootlegs eventually show up on eBay and stuff of it, but
Oh, totally. If they haven't already.
I mean, it's one of those. It's definitely like the email they had sent me. It had like somebody holding it, and it was like
Oops.
decent, like torso size. So the individual holding it. I was like, damn. Yeah, right now they're pushing water types as the theme for their summer days. Summer days.
Well,
But it's freaking huge.
I think I'm definitely gonna have to find time to kind of hang out on the webpage again. It's been a while since I've ordered from them, but the last thing I wanted that badly, my Kyogre plush, is always out of stock.
Well, Monkey has the very first print one they ever made, the first run they ever did of that one, of the official Poké Doll.
Mm-hmm.
So I got it for him when he was a little guy and I was working. Like one of my first jobs, I was like, when they first had the Poké Center online shop. So yeah, he has one. I'm sure you could fight him for it.
I don't want to fight him for it. I'd hate to take him away from his Kyogre.
Is that more? You just don't know if he has rabies or not.
I'm canine too. Won't affect me much. But yes.
We don't have to put the boat down.
A regular Kyogre
Okay.
plush or primal form for sure.
No, the primal are you trying to get is usually just like the regular plushie. It's not the Poké.
Mm.
It's usually, but they're decent size. I mean, it makes sense because of how freaking huge it is. But I've seen the primal before. I just haven't. It wasn't one of those go-to Pokemon for me. So I was like, eh.
Right. Well, I'm going to be keeping an eye out for hopefully a decent Kyogre, and I definitely want to get Rayquaza, who, should we do a part 2 to this episode, or 3 or 4, because we definitely have a lot more to talk about. Rayquaza actually...
Mechagodzilla. How the hell do we not have a part 2? We didn't even mention Mechagodzilla, like, the bane of Godzilla's existence.
Would you say that one is more like second place for Godzilla's main villain, or would you say Mothra still is?
As far as assholes he's had to deal with and keep killing and they keep coming back, I would have to say it'd be Ghidorah as like a villain that's never like crossed the we're allies line.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would have to be Mechagodzilla because it's like, goddamn, it's like, okay, I killed it once, they salvaged it, rebuilt it, killed it twice. Fucking now they built a brand fucking new one. God damn it.
Mm-hmm. Used my bones from a previous life to do it.
Now
Yeah.
they're getting a little dark. Now they're getting a little dark, creepy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the chat seemed to have fun with this topic tonight, so far it's been one of the more interactive chats from what I can remember. So maybe on our next episode in about 2 weeks, give or take, we will maybe we'll come back with part 2. Or if someone wants to suggest a topic, feel free to do so in my Discord or comment down below once this video posts. See what topics we can bring into here.
Nobody's commenting on the fact that we're writing Anna Barbera Godzilla right now. I'm kind of sad. I'm like, really? Nobody's gonna call this out.
Well, we're not just writing on Godzilla, we're writing on Hanna-Barbera's Godzilla, mind you. For those of you who did not know, he had a cartoon back in the day, and this is where that horrid creation Godzuki comes from.
I want to find somebody to make you a Godzuki plush and just send it to you. Be like, he's
On the
that or the worst thing I could ever do is tell little Z about it, upset so bad he wants to dress as that and leave it alone. You want to talk about ending a supernatural friendship? That's how you do it. Let me encourage your kid to be something you absolutely despise that you have to just pretend to love because they're so into it now.
Oh, he's already done that. He's also known as Blippi.
He's also known as what?
Blippi.
Oh, God.
He likes watching that show, and I can't stand it.
I've heard of this individual, but I've never bothered to look up what it is or who it is, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm cool.
Yeah, keep it that way.
It sounds like that stupid crap. What was it? Had the like beatbox or some crap in it, and I can't remember what it was called. It's like another one of those kind of stupid shows. It's like, look, man, nobody said we need to pick up the torch. Why the fuck are you picking up the torch?
Right. Well, folks,
Shame.
that about
Shame.
does it. That about does it for our episode today. Before I jump into horrid ideas of the thought of something Blippi or Godzuki coming my son's way.
Oh no, they've merged. They're Blipzuki.
Oh no.
Blipzuki!
Definitely.
That shows up on his lawn. He's gonna call me first before he puts it down. He's like, what did you will into existence?
You're right.
Why couldn't you will yourself to win like the Mega Lotto or something? No, you had to will some horrible creation into this world and have it show up at my doorstep. You dick.
Definitely encourage you all to check out some of the first Godzilla films we discussed today. We haven't gone through the whole kaiju crew yet, but judging by the response of tonight's episode, we will definitely come back to this topic and discuss more of the Godzilla franchise film-wise and also the kaiju side of things, and just go into detail to show just how many Pokemon are actually inspired by these awesome creatures. Can't say much for some of their movies, let alone some of the species as it is, like Ebra, but we'll get to them eventually. And as we get further and further in the series, just like as we get further and further into the generations of Pokemon games, you'll definitely see a merger of the two and how even the weirdest Kaiju-inspired Pokemon of modern games. So, but with that being said, I am your host, Zamu.
I'm also that lovable co-host that kills trainers. This is Jock Shadow.
And who has one awesome hell of a fight scene, by the way.
Oh, you've had some good ones yourself.
Nah, I floated around on a windmill. I bounced on balloons.
Hey, you helped turn a kid to stone. You got to help steer a moral compass more than once, apparently, in several movies.
It would have been cooler if I had my sunglasses in my hair.
And you were in that Mystery of Mew, where apparently you were just a huge collecting hoarder of random stuff.
This is what happens when you let other people sign your checks, folks. They don't represent you well enough. Alright, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for keeping the chat popping. We had a lot of fun discussions, and looking forward to the next episode, because as we start getting into the more obscure films, we're going to see more of those obscure kaiju. And we've kind of talked about it already, but I'm eager to see what you all think of Hedra, or Ghidorah, however you want to say it. And Definitely Mecha Godzilla, because I feel like that one could have 2 or 3 contenders as well. So.
They're definitely Steel type.
Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Have a good night, and we will catch you on the next Pokemon Artcast.
We out.